Hello Seekers, this is Wildly from Wildly Tarot, and this is your Moonday message for the week beginning November 16th, 2020. The energy that is present for us this week is intense and has the invitation and possibility of transformation if we allow it. If we allow ourselves to reframe what we are feeling into this idea of leaning into great mystery rather than taking ourselves through the mental rigmarole of trying to fight what is present in our lives. The main card that came forward to encapsulate, encompass this energy that we have this week, the Death card. And I've said this before, and I will continue to say it. This is one of my favorite cards of the tarot deck. It's not a card to be fearful of or to feel any sort of heaviness around. It literally is nothing more than the other side of the coin of life. We live in this space, this world that is built on duality. And the faster we can make peace with that and accept that everything comes in equal and opposing ways, and that none of them are good, bad, right, or wrong. It simply is the cyclical nature of this life experience that we are engaging in. The sooner we can suffer less and accept the death times that move through our lives. Right? At least here in the Northern Hemisphere, we are in the death cycle. We're moving towards winter. I can see it outside my window right now. The plants are beginning to die. They're going into their hibernation, their slumber, pulling themselves and their energy back down into the roots to support and nourish themselves until they come back again in the springtime. And so this week for us collectively, as we dive in together, as I feel into the collective, this beautiful energetic soup that we are all in together, the time is signified by death. It's signified by transformation. So my first invitation to you, my first curiosity is, what in your life is ready to be let go of? What is dying or has already died, but you're still clinging to, still grasping to, in the hopes that you can make it stay or make it last a little longer, or convince yourself that it's going to get better or it's going to change. You know, the thing about death is that once we recognize it's here, it's pretty final. What was is no longer. We step across the threshold into birth, into something new, some new iteration. Whether it is the ending of a relationship that then transforms into a friendship, romantic relationship that is, or it is the ending of a job in which we put in our 2-week notice and we know we're not going back to that work again. Therefore, we open up to a new type of work moving into our lives. Or literal physical death, where this body comes to the end of its experience here. Our essence leaves the body and is reborn into whatever the next journey is for that particular being. Death is nothing to be afraid of. It is really simply one of all the experiences that we are gifted in this lifetime as human beings. And so this energy is really present here this week. Makes so much sense, right? We're in Scorpio season, moving towards Sagittarius. We just had a super new moon, dark moon over the weekend that was in Scorpio and Sagittarius. It is just the time of really diving into death and then applying the fire to it to allow what no longer serves to be burned away. So that's the essence of this week for the collective, right? And then the next 2 cards that came along, I see as the directions in which we might take this information. The first, King of Wands upside down. reversed. I don't generally read cards in reversal. It just lets me know that the medicine of this card perhaps isn't being well received. So one direction we could take this is to kind of have a little bit of self-sabotage, a little bit of a mental meltdown, question the choices that we've made. We can really go into that negative spiral of mentally chawing on our decisions, on what no longer serves, clinging, grasping, not creating a container for ourselves to feel whole and happy and healthy and well resourced as we move in through the death process. That is one option. And again, there's no shame, no blame, no judgment. We often have to move through these cycles and be really uncomfortable and suffer and go through the mental rigmarole of an experience to come to our own answers and really decide for ourselves, oh, I didn't need to go through all of that. I didn't have to suffer in that way. I'm going to do something different the next time I'm in this situation. So if this is the direction your week takes, totally fine, totally human. It's not an issue whatsoever. Just know that that is one potentiality. And if you feel as though that may not be the way you'd like to take this process through death this week, then you can plant that seed and perhaps catch yourself before you go down that cycle. The other option, as we lean into death, as we lean in to this week, the blank card. I read this as the card of great mystery, the card of the void, the divine unknown. It is the card truly of what life is. It is the card of rebirth. We have no idea what's going to happen, what's on the other side of this death. We don't know what's on the other side of this minute or this day. There is truly a lot of unknowns in our life here on this planet, in a human body, in a very fierce and yet fragile type of organism, right? You know, we have moved up the ladder of survival based on our big brains and our ability to create weapons and tools and to communicate in different ways. And yet we are not bigger and smarter than the fabric of this reality in which we live and breathe and work, right? We don't know when our death will be. We don't know what our future holds. We only know what's here in this moment. We know what we want in the future. We know our story from the past, or at least our version of the story at any given time. But the majority of this magical experience called life is mystery. And if we can soften our mental constructs enough to lean in to that mystery, to allow it to be without having to have an answer, or even further, without having to question, but simply trust in the veracity of that mystery and its overwhelming desire to provide us with exactly what we need. Maybe not exactly what we want, but exactly what we need in order to evolve on a soul level. That feels like really deep medicine that we can all partake in this week. That is your Moonday message. I hope that it serves you well. I hope that you have everything that you need and that you are taking good care. This is the time to really be supporting the physical body. Take your herbs, drink lots of water, and rest when you need to. And I will see you next Monday.